What's good? In this video, I just wanted to show you how I went about grading some Super 8 footage that I recently shot. Some of it was shot on 200T, while some of it was shot on 50D. The footage that I shot was shot on this Super 8 camera right here, the ELMO 612S XL. And I've been playing around with a lot of Super 8 footage recently just because I just wanted to see what Super 8 looks like. And when I brought it into Davinci Resolve, there's a lot of things that I found out about film that I didn't necessarily know before. Like some things you've heard about, some things you don't even know about. But before I ramble on for too long, let's just get right into it. Let me show you what I was able to do, what I was able to create. Let's go. Just so you know, I've already gone ahead and graded some of the clips here on this timeline. This is mostly because I don't want to waste your time here showing you how I go about doing my nose structures and doing all that jazz. I just want to show you the final result and how I got there. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So I'm just going to go over here quickly to the color tab, and I'm going to start over here with this clip. Before I get into all that, let me talk to you about what happened with this footage, how I scanned everything. When I took it to my film lab, Niagara Film Labs, I did an overscan, which means you can see this beautiful square rectangular thing over here, and I did a flat overscan. What that flat means is that you basically get like a log footage and you can do the color correction yourself. If you don't want a flat scan, they can do some sort of color correction for you at the lab, but I like to do it myself, hence why I'm making this video. So once you do a log flat overscan, you bring it into Resolve, and the first thing you want to do is a color space transform. When I did this color space transform, which I will show you right here, the color space transform, the only thing you want to change is the input gamma. You set it to Sydney on film log, and everything pretty much just leave it as use timeline, which means it's going to be Rec 709. When I change that, this is what happens. I get this blue blob, still a little bit flat image, and this is what we have to work with. And then once that is done, the first thing I did over here was fix this blue issue. And that blue issue is gone. You see what happened here was that I took away the blue. I came over here and I brought down the blue. So if you look at the scopes right here, everything is pretty much level. I brought down the blues and the gamma a little bit, brought down the greens a little bit to make it less greenish. Let me show you what that looked like before. Right, this is what it looked like before, and then I brought down, because everything was way up here in the blues, right? So, and then once I did that, I brought down the blues a little bit. You can see what it did over here in the scopes. It just made everything balanced a little bit. After I brought down the blues to make it look a little bit more like normal, I wanted to, you can see over here that the highlights are just way too much, and also there's not that much color within the image. So I wanted to bring down the highlights, bring down the gain, and then also put in a little bit more color to just make it pop a little bit more. So let's see what this node over here was able to do. That's what I was able to do with that node, and this was just my, and I also wanted more detail in the sky. I wanted to give us more detail in the sky. I wanted to bring more color into the image, and I just wanted to make the image more visible. And after I did that, I'm like, you know what? I still want some of the colors to pop a little bit more. So I went over here in this node. I just went over here to my hue versus saturation, and I lifted up my oranges and I lifted up my blues just to bring out more detail in the sky and bring out more detail in her skin tone right here. So that's what this node did right here, and there we go. This is how I ended up with the final footage. Let's just play it through so you can see what it looks like. There we go. Beautiful, amazing. This is what it looked like originally, and this is what it looked like at the end. Original end, original end. And that's how you go about fixing that little blue issue that you have right there. And that's how I came about this final footage. The next one I wanted to show you is the power of film when it comes to working with the highlights. You know how they say to always overexpose your film? Well, overexposure actually allows you to see into the shadows and also allows you to retain the detail in the highlights. Let me show you what I mean by that. In this image, I had a blown out sky. I wanted to keep the detail in the sky, but also keep a lot of detail in the shadows. right? Let me show you what this image looked like flat scanned, and then this is what I did with the first conversion. This is just the same thing, just changing the input gamma to cine on film log. Once I did that conversion, this is the image that I got. Again, this was also shot in 200T, so everything did come out a little blue. So the first thing I wanted to do was fix that blue. I came over here to my nodes right here, came over here to this. This is basically the printer light section of Resolve. I brought down the gamma a little bit, just in the blues, right? Another trick that I use when it comes to working in Resolve is that I drop down the lumen mix. Dropping the lumen mix to 0 allows you to only affect the color that you want to affect without affecting any other colors within the color space that you're working with. So I brought down the gamma. Let's see what that did. It fixed the blues, right? Completely fixed the blues. Watch the nodes right here. Watch the, watch the, what is this thing called? Sorry, it's skipping my mind right now. Watch the RGBs, the scopes. Watch the scopes right here. Brings down the blue, because the blues, what you want to do when you're trying to balance your image is to make sure that everything is within the same medium, within the same section. So in this, I just wanted to make sure that the blues were brought down to the same level as the green and the reds, so we can have a balanced image. And that's what that was able to do right there. And then when it came over here, I just wanted to make sure that I had a lot more detail in the sky, because I remember that day the sky looked amazing. It looked beautiful, and I just wanted to make sure that I could see everything up there. So here's what I was able to do with this. Look at that. That's the power of film. You can drop the sky so much and retain all that detail. You can still see a little bit of blue right there. You can see the orange going around right there. And what I did was I did a power window. Is not the best looking power window. If you didn't know that power window was there, you wouldn't know what I was able to do. So with that power window, I was able to create this look that you see right there. And over here on this node, I just wanted to add a little bit more saturation to the image. I wanted to make sure that with this image, we have a little bit more orange, a little bit more, because I shot this at sunrise. At sunrise, you know, you get that beautiful orange sky and you get the light hitting the surroundings. So, and it looks so beautiful on film. So I just wanted to add a little bit more saturation to give it a little bit more pop. And there we go. I added that saturation to the image. You can see what it does to the sky. You can see what it does to the surrounding. Just adds a little bit more color. And then on this node, I just wanted to play around with it, give it a little bit of a grade, give it a little bit of a look and feel. So I added some green and orange to the image just to make it shine a little bit more, just to give it a look, you know, just to make it pop a little bit, just add a little bit of that heavy touch to it. And this is what we end up with. Amazing. So this is where we started. This is where we ended up. This is where we started. This is where we ended up. Beautiful. All right, and the next ones, I'm just gonna power through it just because I don't want to waste too much of your time. Actually, with this one, I'm going to explain what I did a little bit more. With this one, it was just, let me show you what it looked like once I do the conversion. This is what it looked like. I completely overexposed this image because, you know, I wanted to overexpose. I was shooting manual with my ELMO 612 SXL. It has a good light meter in it. The light meter works perfectly and it exposes the film to the best of its abilities as accurate as possible. But for me, I wanted to overexpose it a little bit. And on this day, the sun was shining, it was bright, and I wanted to just like overexpose a little bit, play with it in manual exposure setting, and I ended up blowing this out. And I thought this was completely gone, because if you were shooting this on digital, there's no way you'd be able to bring this back. But let me show you what I was able to do when I shot this on film. Let's see. Let's see what this did. Look at that. You can still see detail in the building. You can still see detail over here. But the problem is you don't get that color information. There's no color information because this building was green. The roof over here was green. The trees obviously were a little green. The water was obviously blue. Although you can retain the information in the shadows and whatever's going on here in the building, you do lose a little bit of color information So it's not good to overexpose by this much. I don't even know how much this is. 3 stops, 4 stops. This was a miscalculation on my part, and even though I was able to bring it back a little bit, I wasn't able to save this particular shot. I did try to add a little contrast and saturation to the image just to see what would happen to it, and this is what I ended up with. Even though it's not what I wanted it to be, it's not the worst image out there, right? So this is what it ended up being. Not too bad, but not what it could have been. So this is where I started, so I ended up. Started, ended up. I just love the fact that I was able to bring the highlights down that much, and that shows you, you can even still see the clouds in the sky, which is actually quite amazing to me that the film can retain that much information. So if anything, when you're shooting film, overexpose rather than underexpose, because you can't save too much in the shadows. Now the last one I'm going to show you is this one right here, because it does have some product in it. So I shot this little Coca-Cola bottle and this drum that I have right here. Let's see what it looks like with the color space conversion. This is just a color space conversion, and this one is an interesting one because I shot this a little bit underexposed, right? You can see that there's a lot of information. If you look at the scopes right here, everything is at the bottom. The bottom is crushed. It's crushed. You can't see much detail. Let's see if we can regain some information down in those shadows. Let's see what I was able to do with this node. This node, I tried to lift everything up and give it a little bit more pop. Not bad. Not bad at all, right? So check that out. So it came from this to this, this to this, right? So what I did was that I just lifted up the lift, gave it a little bit of a facelift, you know, try to see if I can get more information out there. And this again is one of the great things about film, is the ability to retain information. Digital, yes, you can depend on the camera you're shooting, you can retain a lot of information, but with film, this is what you can do. This is one of the reasons that I really like film. It just allows you to do so much more, especially in post-production. And from here, it was just playing around a little bit. I wanted to bring down the highlights a little bit because I felt like it was shining a little bit too much. And then I added in some saturation just to give it a little bit more pop in the reds and in the oranges. And then over here, just giving it a little bit of a look just to make it pop, just to make it shine, just to give it a little bit of that ebby touch. Let's see what that looks like right here. There we go. That's just a little bit of the things I was playing around with these clips that I shot. And that brings us to the end of this video. If this video has brought you any value, you know what to do. Honestly, you know what to do. I'm not even gonna say it, so because you know what to do. Until next time, make sure you stay safe, make sure you stay coloring, make sure you shoot film, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, let me know in the comment section down below if there's anything that you didn't understand, there's anything that you wanted me to elaborate more on, and I'll definitely do that in the next time I'm sitting here in this chair grading in Resolve. So, peace. Bye. Go on. Actually, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. You're one of the real ones. Let me know in the comment section down below. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll give you $5. If you made it this far, I'll give you $5. Cash. Come find me. I'll give you $5 cash.